Video is going to discuss how to make a high-res print-ready PDF for brochures in Adobe applications. As you can see, I'm working in Adobe InDesign, but these principles apply to other Adobe applications like Illustrator and Photoshop. Now, as you can see, I've already set up my file. I am doing a 11 by 8.5 Trifold brochure. So I went to File, Document Setup, 2 pages because I have an outside page and the inside of the brochure. The width is 11, the height is 8.5 because that is my final trim size before the brochure is folded. And you want to make sure this is exactly the final trim size, not larger, not smaller. Under Bleed and Slug, I added 1/8 of an inch to each of the 4 bleed areas, top, bottom, left, right. Okay, and on our website, we have downloadable templates. So I downloaded the 11 by 8.5 Trifold brochure already. And you can see it tells you outside front cover, outside back cover. This is the innermost panel. And this panel is a little bit shorter than these 2 panels. And the reason is when this folds in, if it was the exact same size as this, the brochure would not lay flat, it would buckle a little bit. So this needs to be a little bit shorter so that when it folded, all 3 panels are folded, it'll be a little bit short here and it won't buckle and it'll lay flat. And you can see it's also labeled here. This is the inside left panel, inside front cover, inside back cover, and this is the inside fold in panel. Now you can see there's a paragraph here that explains some of these lines. I'll explain that to you shortly. Now I went ahead and I made a layer and I placed our template into my file so that you can see it right here. It makes the lining up all the artwork in the panels much easier. Now, let me see. Let me go to this page and it'll be easier to explain. So this line here, right there, that is the trim edge. This yellow area is the bleed edge. This blue line is the safety margin, and it goes all the way around, you can see. And the safety margin is the area where you do not want any type, logos, or important elements to extend past this safety margin. The safety margin is 1/8 inch inside the trim edge. And the bleed area is 1/8 inch past the trim edge. Now, as you can see, all of my logos, my type, important elements are inside that safety margin on both pages. Right here, kind of hard to see there. If your type or logos are a little bit past it, like let's say a little more right here, this is in the safety margin right here, and so is that. There's a chance this could get trimmed off a little bit and you'd be missing some of your type. So I'm going to put that back. And the reason why we have this safety margin is because printing is not perfect and cutting is not perfect. So we need a little bit of leeway, and that's what the safety margin is for. Now, any images, solid colors, gradients that reach the trim edge must extend 1/8 inch past the trim edge, and we call this bleed. As you can see, all of the background artwork that extends to the trim edge goes past that by 1/8 of an inch on all of my sides, wherever there is image, wherever there's color, wherever there's the gradients, logos, etc. that need to bleed and go to the edge, extend past it. Very important. Now let's take a look at our links in the links palette. These are all the links in this file. And as you can see, I'm going to click this one, images 1, and I'm going to spill my link info. This image is in color space RGB. We prefer all artwork to be in CMYK color space. The reason being is because we print in CMYK inks, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Our RIP will automatically convert any RGB artwork, any Pantone colors, any other color space into CMYK automatically. Some people don't like the conversion because RGB can be brighter and have brighter colors, making CMYK look a little duller. So our recommendation is for you to open up all your images, convert them to CMYK, make any color adjustments that you want, and then relink your artwork. Now you'll also notice this image is 300 DPI down here, but it's placed at 200% enlargement, making the effective DPI 150, which is low res. Anything below 300 DPI is considered low res. And if you'll notice on the side of the page, I already have a CMYK image and it's 300 DPI because it's placed at 100% enlargement. So we're going to remove this low res RGB image and replace it with this high res CMYK image. And you can see right here, color space CMYK, high res. That's exactly what we want. So then we're going to go to the layers palette, turn that on, and now we're going to export file, export high res PDF. I'm going to save it to my desktop. You want your format to be Adobe PDF print from this pull down menu. Click save and then choose PDF X4 2008 from the Adobe PDF preset list. It comes preloaded in all Adobe applications. There's also high quality print and press quality. Don't use those. They're not nearly as good as PDF X4 2008. You want single pages, not spreads, because you've already set up your file with all 3 panels on one page. That's correct. That's the way we want it. Now these are all the settings for the Adobe PDF preset, PDF X4 2008. We're going to make one change. Under marks and bleeds, we are going to add in 1/8 of an inch to all 4 sides. If we don't do this here, the bleed in your file will not come out. It doesn't matter if it's in your file if you don't also select this. You can do it here, or you can use Adobe bleed settings, and these settings, these numbers come from the document setup when we created our file. Use either one. Do not use crops and marks, do not use bleed marks, do not use any of these marks. We only want to add in bleed. Now let's go back to there. PDF X4 2008, it says modified because we added in bleed, single pages, not spreads. Now let's export our PDF. And there we go. Now you can see I made one mistake. I left the template in my file, and it will print if you leave it in the file. We cannot delete it from your file. So you must go back into InDesign and delete this template layer. Any mark that you leave in this file, when you send us this PDF, if you put in your own score marks and you give us the PDF with those score marks, they will print. So make sure that none of your PDFs or your brochures have any marks that you do not want to print. You want it super simple. So I'm going to go export. I'm going to write right over that file that was no good. All my settings should be set up. PDF X4 2008 with bleed, single pages, not spreads. And it's going to recreate that file. And here we are. No template. This is what we want. So it has bleed because we're going to trim this to 11 by 8.5 before it's folded. And then we added 1/8 inch bleed on all 4 sides, which makes it 11 1/4 by 8 3/4. So this size is correct. And if you notice back here, our artwork lines up correctly to the fold lines that are in our template. There are other kinds of folding. This is a trifold, and I downloaded a few more from our website so that we can compare them. Let me open those. Okay, so this is the trifold we just made, and this is the final size. That's the front panel, the outside front, and that's the size. And again, on a trifold, this is a slightly shorter panel. Then we go to a Z fold, which looks very similar. However, all the panels are the exact same size because it folds like a Z. This will fold this way, this will fold in, this will fold out. And that makes this the outside front cover. But the outside back cover is here because this comes out, folds. This is an outside fold, this is an inside fold. So this panel matches up to this panel, making the back side of this panel the outside back cover. Z folds are kind of special that way. Now, another option, this is a 4-panel accordion fold. And accordion folds are also the exact same panel size for each panel. So all of these are the same. Now this one says outside front panel, and this is outside back panel. And you'll notice these are the insides, because this will fold out. This line here is the score. This will be the outside of the front. This will be an inside fold, and this will be an outside fold, making this the outside back panel. And then one more example. These are all 11 by 8.5 flat size, but they all fold differently. And there's other ones too, but these are the most basic ones. This is a gatefold. So what happens is this is the back panel right here on a gatefold. These two panels will fold in, and they'll meet at this edge and this edge when they're folded, and these will be the front panels. And you can see here, this is all interior of the brochure. So all kinds of different folds here that are available on our website that you can download. And again, and here is our print ready PDF for an 11 by 8.5 trifold brochure.